Holy shit, guys, holy shit. Connie is actually a cuck. Ironically, Spring Fever never arrived for Mr. Connie Springer. So it seems, for a show that's so intent on portraying human nature as raw and realistic as possible, one of the things that always felt lacking from the characters was their sexual drive and hormones. As all the characters remain stereotypically asexual, despite the fact that they're all teen soldiers who could be killed off in battle at any given time. I guess Connie only views Sasha as a sister figure, similar to how Eren views Mikasa. Unfortunately, this little interesting platonic relationship was left fairly vague, as we rarely got to see them interact with each other besides scenes with comedic undertones. It would have benefited the integrity of these characters to have them show concern for each other in a more serious manner. Like, what kind of support did Sasha give Connie when he found out his mom was a Titan? But perhaps it's for the best that these sexual aspects are kept buried, given the shipping shitstorm that arose from when Historia's pregnancy was revealed. Speaking of which, this chapter is another step towards proving my deductions about what really happened with Historia's pregnancy. Confirming my suspicions about the Scouting Legion being intentionally kept in the dark, as they had no idea that there was a plan to have Eren be eaten by someone easier to control, symbolizing the government's fear and distrust in not only Zeke and Eren, but also the Scouting Legion. What's most important is the logic that the military police uses here to justify their callous concealment. Because we knew what would happen if we told you, iterates Niall. Coming full circle from the assault on Stohis district, where Erwin did likewise to prevent Eren from being handed over to the military police. I wonder if it's intentional, meaning we knew you wouldn't agree to it, so we just try to do it behind your back. Which is the logic I based my deductions on, for why I thought the scouts were being kept in the dark. So given that they probably wouldn't agree to Historia being sacrificed, they probably don't know about her pregnancy either, which was a desperate measure taken by Historia to throw off the military police's plans of titanizing her to aid Zeke. Which begs the question, which came first? Zeke already anticipating this course of action by the Eldian government, or the Eldian government hatching this plan in response to the proposition of Eren already leaving Paradise Island in order to retrieve Zeke, and Historia's pregnancy being direct response to that. Zeke was probably well aware that the Eldians wouldn't trust him, not after what he did. So there had to be some kind of subterfuge to his proposal. Remember in the initial meetings with Kiyomi, part of Zeke's plans was to have Historia immediately become a breeding machine, while he probably knows about Historia due to reports from Reiner. What's curious here is him specifying the method of breeding as exclusively female, even though it would be far more efficient if they used a male. Like, why didn't he just do it himself? Guess he's not too popular with the ladies either. And how exactly does he know that there aren't any royals left inside the walls besides Historia? Why didn't the Scouting Legion pick up on this in the meetings? Does Zeke's plans involve Historia somehow beyond just the delay tactic? But let's not jump the fence here. Seeing as Eren knows enough about Zeke's plans to go along with it, he showed no concern about Historia, so it's probably not important. Simply delaying Historia eating him for a few months doesn't do him any good. He still needs to do something to get out of his situation. Unfortunately for him, the miscalculation that is Gabi Braun has been invited to the fine dining venue staffed by the Marleyan soldiers, spoken for by his right-hand woman Yelena. It is indeed revealed that the wine that Niccolo served contained Zeke's spinal fluid. I wonder if detox works for this. He only needs a particle, right? In the end, I just don't think Zeke understands the separate nature of the three military branches in Eldia well enough to be able to anticipate this kind of treachery from the military police. There's no reason for him to think that Waldians aren't a united front, so his plans should center around getting around the Survey Corps, at least initially, before Yelena makes adjustments as she learns more information about them. It's not like convincing Historia to get pregnant is something that he had much control over, considering he never met her. Not to mention, he has to work with his brother, who wouldn't allow Historia to be sacrificed in any way, nor any of his friends for that matter. So his initial plans shouldn't have relied on that. Convincing Historia to get pregnant is more like a last-ditch scramble, after getting wind of the scheming behind the scout's back. Yet, these military police conspirators still have the gall to try and place the responsibility onto the Survey Corps. Hanji tries to reason with them, explaining that the military leadership did not give them a viable path forward, and the plan to replace Eren, their savior figure, is the final straw. The military police deflects by pushing the blame onto the Survey Corps once again by arguing that most of the Jaeger faction are Survey Corps members. The conversation soon degrades into bickering, with Kiyomi looking on unimpressed, before Commander Pixis enters the picture, taking charge, securing critical assets, and surrendering? Well, more like bargaining in this case. A counterintuitive but sensible approach nonetheless to prevent more bloodshed from happening. Apparently also exactly wanted to go out this way. Although I'm sure he's still sad because there's no monumental work of art left for people to remember him by. Such a pity. A minor scene here with Kiyomi doing to Mikasa what she used to do to Eren, offering protection when things get bad. Mikasa follows in Eren's footsteps here and prioritizes her duty to the people, and also calling out Kiyomi on her BS. No longer able to maintain her composure with sweat dripping down all across her face, Kiyomi exasperatingly explains the dire straits that the Azuma Bito clan is in, which caused them to become so greedy. But it does seem like there's some inherent significance to Mikasa's Japanese bloodline. Connie is still going on in his antagonizing ways, even being suspicious of Mikasa and Armin being in the Jaeger faction. Mikasa apparently isn't amused by this and responds quite flippantly. I don't recall this sassy side of her. Maybe she got it from Levi. After some catch-up exposition, Hanji and crew finally decide to check out the big red flag of why Yelena was so adamant about protecting the Marleyan volunteers' working privileges. The group tries to play it cool, being okay with Niccolo finishing his work despite them being in a rush. I can't tell which group Niccolo is more nervous about, Hanji's group or Sasha's dad, putting in all his effort to make his best dishes to please them. Niccolo really seemed to enjoy the praise she got from Sasha, feeling redeemed because of it. I guess he wasn't too happy about his life as a soldier, having no qualms about killing children to take revenge, even upon an innocent party. Sasha's dad, however, feels a more personal responsibility, acknowledging that Sasha went over to another country and killed people, arguing that there's no right or wrong here, only parents who send their children into a deadly forest. So the lesson seems to be here to keep your kids hidden safe inside. Don't let them go out in the world, which is actually just one giant forest. Actually, I have no idea what he's talking about, and neither does he probably. Did we really need a redneck philosopher in this series? Not to be outdone, Kaya, who was able to sit still while her mother was being eaten in front of her by a titan, picks up the knife and lunges in to murder Gabby. Fortunately, Mikasa, who has been tending to Gabby's wounds, stopped her attack. Maybe? So the healing process can begin. All's well that ends well in SNK once again. Oh, and Falco's probably gonna turn into a mindless titan. Huh.